I don't know if you got it circled on your calendar. Next Sunday is circled on your calendar. I don't know if it's a big deal to you or not. Next Sunday is Super Bowl 60, I think. Is that right? And so some of you, I don't know, there might be some Seahawk jerseys or some Patriot jerseys on some folks next Sunday. And you know, a lot of us probably really don't care. There was a survey I came across. It was done after the Super Bowl last year, asking people why they watch. What was the reason that you watch the Super Bowl? So I don't know if this will apply to 2026 or not. It may depend on, you know, which teams are playing. I'm not sure. But the people who answered this survey, here's the top reasons why people watched the Super Bowl last year. 49% said they were interested in the game itself. Like not quite almost half of people who watched the Super Bowl watched it because of the game. Maybe they were fans, maybe they just like football, whatever. They were interested in the game, okay? 40% really just wanted to go to the Super Bowl party, whatever that was. Whoever they hung out with, whatever place that their Super Bowl party was located at, 40% of people were like, I'm just going to hang out with my friends and all that kind of stuff. Another 25% were just interested in the food. So it wasn't just the party itself, is the food that's there. So, you know, whatever snacks were there, they were excited about that. They were excited to get to eat whatever the Super Bowl food was. 17% said they wanted to watch the halftime show. I don't even remember what the halftime show was last year. Does anybody off the top of their head? Was it Kendrick Lamar? Okay, I have no idea. Couldn't even tell you. Don't even know. If it's not somebody that sang back in the 80s or 90s, I probably don't even know who it is. So, and then 14% just watched the Super Bowl for the commercials. So their commercials kept getting interrupted by a game, but you know they suffered through and they watched the commercials. So I don't know what your motivation is. Some of you will be interested in the game itself. Some of you are just like, hey, it's something to do that everybody else is watching on a Sunday night, and so that's what I'll do too. Do you know that the Winter Olympics are starting this coming weekend? Did y'all realize that? They're in Italy. Some of y'all are excited about that. Some of y'all, that's the first that you've heard of it. Didn't even realize that was coming up. Weren't even for sure there still was a thing called the Winter Olympics, right? And for some of us, you know, we get into those things at least for a little while, and maybe some of us, the Winter Olympics aren't as big a deal. The most popular events, at least in the United States, the most popular events when it comes to watching the Winter Olympics are figure skating. How many of y'all are figure skater watchers? Several of you, okay. Ski jumping. Anybody like ski jump where they go down the big hill and then take off? Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Do you watch it for the technique, or do you watch hoping that somebody's going to crash? That's the question. Okay. Y'all are some dark people in this room. All right. Speed skating. Y'all like speed skating? Anybody? It's amazing to me how low they can get to the ground that fast. It's amazing. I can barely skate, much less speed skate, much less on ice. So hockey. People like the hockey games. Anybody like watching the hockey games? Okay. Curling. How many of y'all like watching the curling? How many of y'all knew that there was a thing curling before, like a few years ago? Like that's really become popular recently. As a matter of fact, Devin, you took your family curling when they were in Canada a couple years ago. So, and it's not as easy as it looks, is it? So are you more interested now in like seeing it, like what's going to happen with the curling? Okay. And then one that's become really popular is skeleton. Y'all know what skeleton is? Yeah. He basically goes sledding. I mean, that's what it is. I didn't look like that when I was a kid, but I used to sled down the hill as a kid, you know, but you know, it's you're going down the bobsled hill, face first, you know. This has become really popular. People want to tune in for skeleton. Now, there are also events that over the years got introduced to the Olympics and not too long after that got taken away. So I don't know if you are a fan of any of these. Maybe we can start some campaigns to get some of these back, okay? Ski ballet. Anyone? Ski ballet? That was a thing. It's basically skiing that involved like choreographed like flips and turns and things like that. It was labeled as figure skating on skis. So, no, okay, nobody. All right. Sled dog racing or dog sled racing. I don't know which way you say it, but whichever way you say it. Okay, some of y'all would be interested in that. Well, they have demonstrations of it sometimes depending on where the Winter Olympics are, but it hasn't made it into, I think it made it into one, and they took it back out. Maybe it'd be a little bit more exciting if you got to see skijoring. Skijoring, which is when somebody is on skis being pulled by a horse. That is a competitive thing, okay? And back in the 30s, I think it was the 30s, it got introduced, but then it got quickly pulled away. And I don't know why, because it was everybody doing it at the same time. It's not like you take your turn, then you take your turn. It's a whole bunch of guys strapped to a horse skiing, see who can get across the finish line first. Synchronized skating. Anybody see this? They still have this competition. I mean, it happens every year. They just can't get it into the Olympics. It hasn't been brought into the Olympics yet. But synchronized skating. Or this was a thing for several years, alpinism. Alpinism, which is basically the greatest feat in some kind of mountain climbing the year before. So it wasn't even necessarily at the Olympics. They just presented the award at the Olympics. So guys that climbed, climbed different mountains really high, or did some amazing kind of feat as they were mountain climbing, they won the alpinism award. So maybe some of those can be brought back. Maybe we can start a campaign for some of those things. So some of you might be thinking right now, is this what we're talking about today? Is this, because I don't like sports, I don't play sports, it's not that big a deal to me. And so maybe sports aren't your thing. My wife, Christy, runs the Benton County Spelling Bee every year. And I volunteer as one of the judges for that every year. And we had it yesterday. And you want to talk about, y'all are going to laugh, I'm being totally serious. You want to talk about intense. It is intense. That spelling bee is intense, man. If you can imagine standing up in front of a room full of strangers and being told a word and you have to spell it out, that's like, how many of y'all want to do that right now? Anybody want to stand up and I'll just give you a word that you never heard of before and try to spell it? I'm glad that we judges have the book, because they would say the word and I'm like, I don't even know what that word is. Did you pronounce that right? I don't even, and I'm just making sure that they spell it right. But man, it gets pretty intense. And there's kids that train, they study to go from the county bee. Now, we got these kids going on the state bee. It's a big deal. Maybe it's not sports. Maybe it's not spelling bee. How many of y'all really get into card games? Anybody? Y'all card game aficionados? Okay, depending on what the game is, right? And those can actually be kind of intense. They really can, especially if somebody really doesn't like to lose. Card games can get pretty, or video games. The e-gamers. I mean, there might be for certain video game players, there might be more people that will get online and watch someone this week on YouTube, watch somebody play a video game, than there will be that will watch the Super Bowl. Because that's how excited they are about video games. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is because we're all interested in some kind of competition. We like games. We like to compete. We like to play. Some of us is pickleball. Some of us is golf. It's soccer, basketball, softball, running. I don't understand that one, but I know some people like it. Fishing. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons that we compete. And we can get pretty absorbed in winning sometimes. Pretty wrapped up in wanting to win or wanting our team to win, so much so that we don't even realize the consequences. Now, you see that in sporting events quite often, when someone gets so wrapped up in winning that they maybe even injure another player. When someone gets so wrapped up in winning that they have comments to share with the officials who are officiating that particular contest. And that seems pretty obvious, right? When people in sporting events are just so wrapped up in winning. But let me ask you this. Have you, and this is a safe place to confess, have you ever injured yourself or someone else while playing some kind of card game because you really got into it? A couple of hands went up. Okay, all right. That's okay. I understand it. Have you ever broken something while playing a card game, like, furniture or something like that? Okay. How about video games? You're broken a controller because the game messed up? Anybody broken a television? It's okay. You can, all right. Anybody ever, maybe not necessarily tossed, but at least knocked a checkerboard over because you got kinged a whole bunch of times by somebody else? We get into things that we want to compete in, right? And whether it's a sporting event or a card game or something else, there's times when we get so focused on wanting to win. And that's what we're talking about this morning. and for the next several weeks is the games we play and how we can become so focused on winning or doing well, and the frustration that comes, the hurt that comes, the anger, the resentment that comes when I'm not winning or when my team is not winning. But really, I don't want us to be focused on what we typically think of as games, whether it's Olympics or the Super Bowl or a card game or a video game. Because if you think about it, there's all sorts of games that we play in our relationships. We play games all the time in our relationships, whether it's our marriage, whether it's our relationship with our kids, our relationship with our parents, whether it's a dating relationship or a friendship. A lot of us play a lot of games. And many times as we're kind of dealing with that relationship and maybe manipulating and trying to get things to go a certain way, we don't even realize the damage and the hurt that we're causing because we're so focused on winning. What is it that I win in a relationship? What are we talking about? It's those times when I get my way, when I won the argument, when I did something that made you look bad, or at least made you feel bad about yourself, or caused other people to look at you negatively. I got payback for something that you did. In other words, there's something in our relationship that I have turned into a competition, and probably not even intentionally. Probably did, not even thinking about it. But something has happened. There's been a conflict or just a difference of perspective or something that you did that I just didn't like. And I had this desire, I had this urge, this need to make sure that from this moment on, things go my way. Or to make sure that I'm heard. Or to make sure that whatever it is, I'm going to keep at this. I'm going to keep bringing it up. I'm going to keep holding on to this argument. We're going to keep talking about it. And I just won't let go of it until I win. And most of us would never articulate that that's what we do in our relationships. But it is what we find ourselves doing. As a matter of fact, James says this in Scripture. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, in the book of James, in your Bibles and your Bible apps, you go towards the end of the Bible, you find the book of James. In James chapter 4, James talks about conflicts in relationships. He says this, beginning in verse 1, "What causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You desire, but you don't have, so you kill. You covet, but you can't get what you want, so you quarrel and fight." Look at what James says here, folks. What causes conflicts? What's the root of so many conflicts that I have with my spouse, with my kids, with my parents, with my friends, with this person that I'm dating? It's my desires. It's the things that I want. And I want what I want, and I want to do things my way, and I don't just want you to see things from my perspective. I want you to agree with me. I want you to have the same perspective that I do, no matter what. And so I will quarrel, I will fight, I will kill this relationship if I have to make sure that I win. And I'm guessing most of us in this room and those of us online that are listening to me say that right now are going, man, I don't do that. But if we take a step back and take an honest look at some of our relationships and how we treat the people in that connection, we're wanting to make sure that we win, even if it hurts the relationship or at least hurts the other person. We play games. We play games that we want to win. So you may be thinking to yourselves, okay, what kind of games are we talking about here? Let me give you some examples. And we're going to go through a few of these over the next few weeks. Not all of these, but we'll go through a few of them. But some of the games we play in relationships, there's the blame game, where everything is your fault. You did this, you said this, if you would just have done this, if you hadn't done that, and I'm just blaming you for whatever it is that we're dealing with, for whatever it is that went wrong. Similar to that is the shame game, where I point out the things that, I point out your flaws. I point out the things that I'm disappointed in you about. But I do that in order to make you feel bad about yourself. You do this, and here's the kind of person you are because of that. Here's what other people think of you because of how you handle this or because you say this. There's the guessing game. Ooh, man, this one gets me sometimes. I play this game. You ever play this where somebody says, what's wrong? If you don't know what's wrong, I mean, you should just know. And if you don't know, you don't really care. You must not really love me if you don't know why I'm upset. And now I'm sitting here trying to guess. I don't know. What did I do? How do I fix it? I don't know. I'm trying to guess. Maybe there's the, I'll call it the family upbringing game. Because I will pick out something about your family or your growing up years or something that you've always done and say, okay, this is why you do this, or this is why our relationship is the way it is, because of the way you were brought up, because of your experiences. And folks, honestly, some of that's true. We bring our past into our relationships, right? There's things that we learn and habits that we develop because of the families that we were brought up in and because of what was modeled for us. But this becomes kind of a competition, becomes a game that we play, a hurtful game that we play. When I say you because of how you grew up, this is why something's disconnected and broken between us. Or we kind of bring some blame into it, some shame into it. You act just like your, everybody's going to see if I was going to say mother or not. We bring the family into it, bring the past into it, the comparison game. We look at other couples, we look at other families, we look at other friendships, other dating relationships, and we compare and we say, why can't you be more like them? Why can't you act more like her? Why can't you be more like him? The guilt game, similar to the shame game, except I'm blaming you for how you make me feel and trying to make you feel guilty in the process. It is good, folks, and we'll talk about this with some communication. It's good to tell someone, hey, there's something that's going on here that feels hurtful to me. But this becomes a hurtful game when we say, you always do this and you make me feel embarrassed. You break my heart. And the reason that we're saying those things is to make that other person feel guilty. That's the guilt game. Or maybe just the grudge game. Kind of similar to the guessing game. I might not tell you what I'm upset about, or I might tell you what I'm upset about. You might even apologize for it. You might even do something to try to make up for it. But I'm going to hold on to it anyway. And the longer that I hold on to this resentment, the longer that I hold on to this grudge, I'm winning. Because you still feel bad. And I'm right. And you were wrong. And I'm going to hold on to this as long as I can. There's more games we could come up with. We play games a lot in our relationships. And like, here's the question to think about. Just going through that list. And I don't know if you wrote them down or not or paid that much attention to them. I just wonder how many of those games, just you personally, think of yourself, how many of those games do I play? How many of those am I guilty of playing? How many times has that been a part of my desire to win in my relationships? Because, folks, we all struggle with it to some degree. All of us. Maybe some of us more than others, but still, we all struggle with playing these kinds of games in our relationships. And it takes conscious effort for us to be connected with somebody else and not play some kind of game. But what James is saying is the more that I give in to my desires and the more that I always want things my way, the more that I always want to win, the more I end up losing. I lose trust. I lose respect. I lose connection. I may even lose this relationship because I wanted to win. I was listening earlier this week to famous Christian speaker and author Andy Stanley, and he was talking to a crowd of folks and talking about, conflict in relationships, and he asked the question. There's a whole bunch of people in this huge room. He asked the question, how many of you, and he asked it honestly, he's like, how many of you have actually won an argument before? And a bunch of hands went up, okay? His follow-up question to that was, okay, what did you actually win? When you won the argument, what did you actually win? Because a lot of times we just want to be right. And even if we're wrong, we just want to make them feel like they're more wrong. We just want to win. I want to win that argument. Okay, great. What did you win? Well, I won the argument. I was more right. I argued better than the other person. Awesome. How's your relationship now? See, the problem is a lot of these games that we play that we want so desperately to win, we actually lose. We lose something of ourselves. We lose something from that other person. We may lose the relationship. So I want you to look at this question. Maybe write it down. Maybe screenshot it. But I want you to think about this, not just today, but this week. Here's the question. What am I losing in this relationship? You can pick what relationship it is. Is it a spouse? Is it somebody you're dating? Family? Friendship? What am I losing in this relationship because of the game I'm trying to win? What am I losing in this relationship because of the game that I'm trying to win? Am I losing my spouse's trust because I'm always blaming them for the things that go wrong? Am I losing my kids' respect because I'm always making them feel guilty or feel like they can't measure up? Am I losing my connection with a certain friend because I constantly make them guess what's wrong with me and upset when they don't get it right? Again, a lot of these games that we play in our relationships, we end up losing even when we win. So what do we do about that? What do we do about that? That's what we're going to talk about for the next few weeks. We're going to talk in some greater detail about some of these more specific games and work on some things in our own lives that will help us not be so focused on winning these games that we play. Maybe, hopefully, avoiding some of these games altogether. But I want to very quickly give you just a handful of things that are going to you're going to find them in all the things we're going to talk about over the next few weeks. That when I'm dealing with this connection, I'm dealing with this relationship, and I don't want to play the game, and I don't want that to become something that I don't want to get so focused on being more right or winning or getting things my way that I hurt this relationship. What do I do? One thing that I got to do, I think, is redefine what it is I'm trying to accomplish. What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? I mean, sometimes we got to have difficult conversations. Okay, but what is the goal of that? Is the goal of that to try to find some solution, or is the goal of that to win? Sometimes I do want things done a certain way. But is the goal to make sure that everything always goes my way, or is the goal to find some kind of compromise, some kind of solution, something that works best for all of us? In any kind of competition, whether it's a card game, whether it's a sporting event, whatever it is, there's a goal that you're trying to accomplish, right? There's something that you're trying to do. You're trying to score more points. Or, Jordan, you're trying to score fewer points with the golf club, right? I don't play golf, so I'm just double checking and making sure. That's right. Okay. You got the thumbs up. All right. You're trying to have the better hand than other people. You're trying to run faster than somebody else. You're trying to have more Monopoly money at the end of the game than everybody else. There's always some kind of goal that you're trying to accomplish. And in relationship games, what I end up trying to accomplish often is being the one in charge, getting things my way, making sure that other people at least recognize that I'm better than they are, or that my way is better than theirs. What if I started to redefine what winning looks like in this relationship? What it is that we are actually trying to accomplish? What if I decide to rethink my actions and my attitude? The Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 12 and verse 2, as he's challenging Christians to adopt a new lifestyle. He says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Paul says if you want to change behavior, if you want to change the habit, if you want to change something, some action about yourself, you start with your mindset. I got to change my thinking. I got to change my perspective. I got to stop seeing winning in a relationship the way the rest of the world does. I got to stop seeing winning in a relationship the way that I have always seen winning in a relationship. What if instead of trying to win at whatever the cost, whatever the expense, what if I redefine what winning actually was? Is winning in this relationship being right or being on the same page? Because there's a difference. Am I winning in this relationship because I'm right and I make them see that I'm right? Or do we win in this relationship because we've communicated and we're on the same page? Is winning getting my way or finding what is the best for both of us? Is winning putting that other person down or lifting that person up? If I want to start truly winning at these connections in my life, I got to redefine what winning really is and redefine what it is that I'm really trying to accomplish with this connection. Number two, here's something I need to win at. I need to win at honoring. Some of us may be really good arguers. Some of us may be really good manipulators. Some of us may be really good liars. And it evidences itself in our relationships. What if I got really good at honoring the people that I'm connected with? Throughout the centuries, whenever there's been different competitions, when someone won, they often were honored in some way. You go back to ancient times, when they had different games and different competitions, you might get a medal. You might get a crown of leaves on your head or some kind of parade. Even nowadays, we give trophies, we give medals, we give certificates, we give plaques. You get your picture taken and it gets put on the wall or in the newspaper. There's some way that we hold somebody up and give them, honor, give them value, make them feel special because of what they did. What if instead of making it my goal to win arguments and to win and get things my way in this relationship, what if my goal was to win at honoring this other person? That's what Paul says that we should do. If you're still there in Romans chapter 12, we were a minute ago in verse 2, drop down a few verses to verse 10. And here's what Paul says. Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Outdo yourselves in honoring one another. Outdo each other in honoring one another. You want competition? Just within this church family, who can be the best at lifting other people up? Who can be the best at making sure somebody else feels better about themselves? And this word honor that we see here in Scripture just means I'm going to make someone feel valued. I'm going to make someone feel like they mean something. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make them feel like they mean more than I do. That they're more important than I am, that their needs matter more than mine do. Paul says, do your best, outdo each other in that. Give your best effort to win at what? Lifting each other up, honoring each other, making each other feel special. Okay, yeah, but what if they don't deserve it? What if they've done something hurtful to me or somebody I care about? It's not really fair. Do you see any of that talked about in what Paul says here? No. What does Paul say? Just honor each other. Give each other value. Make each other feel special. Whether they deserve it or not. You know why? Because that's what Jesus did for us. The King of the universe left his throne in heaven and all his glory and all his power and all that he had the right to hold on to, left it all because he valued us that much. Sacrificed himself on the cross, died in a horrific way, and conquered death. Why? Because he loved us that much, because he wanted to honor us that much. And over in Philippians chapter 2, it was on the screen earlier during our time of communion, Paul says, you need to have the same mindset that Jesus did. You want to win at your relationships? Win at honoring. Lift that other person up. Do what you can to meet their needs and to make them feel special and honored. Very quickly, the other thing that we're going to see multiple times in these games is I need to win at listening. I need to try to be the best at listening to my kids, at listening to my spouse, at listening to this person I'm dating, and listening to my friend. James, going back to James again, chapter 1, verse 19, says, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Be quick, be fast, be the first at listening. Not just listening so you know how to argue back. Not just listening for whatever you can make a good argument out of and throw back in their face. And not just listening and waiting for your turn to say whatever it is that you're going to say that's going to make a much better point than what they said. But actually listening. Listening to what that other person is saying and listening to the heart behind it. This is going to be important as we talk about some of these relationship games, that I make it a priority to listen and to tune in and to pay attention to what this other person is actually saying. Solomon, hundreds of years ago, one of the wisest men that ever lived, Solomon in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 13 says, to answer before listening, that's folly and shame. If I just speak and just get my way and make sure that I'm heard and I don't take the time to listen to you, I'm losing. I'm losing that game. I'm making things worse. If I want to win at truly connecting with you, then I need to make effort to actually listen to you. To listen when you say, I'm scared, I'm hurting, I'm confused, I'm really happy, I feel disconnected, I'm exhausted, I'm in need. When was the last time you heard those things spoken by somebody that you're connected to? And is the reason because they haven't said those kind of things, or because I wasn't really listening? If we will work on redefining what winning looks like, and if we will work on winning at honoring this other person and winning at listening to this other person, I'm not guaranteeing that you won't have any problems in your relationships, but it's going to help. It's going to help. It's going to help us stop playing some of the games we play and start winning at these connections. If y'all didn't know this about me already, I am a fan of sports movies. Name a sport, I can probably tell you a movie that I've seen about it, at least one. We talked about the ski jumping earlier. Anybody ever seen the movie Eddie the Eagle? Go home today and watch Eddie the Eagle if you haven't. I mean, there's a movie about ski jumping, you know. There's movies about, different basketball movies and football movies and things like that. Boxing. I love Cinderella Man. You should watch that if you get a chance. But what's the classic movie about boxing? Rocky, right? And one of the common themes in the Rocky movies, especially the first, 3 or 4, where Rocky you're just looking at who he's going to have to fight against. You're like, there's no way he's going to win this fight. He's going to get beaten to a pulp. He's out of shape. He can't possibly win. And then what happens? You start hearing that music. Dun, 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 dun. And what does he start doing? He starts jogging. He starts doing push-ups. He starts doing the boxing, the bag thing, whatever. He does the things, right? And while you're watching it, you're almost getting kind of excited just watching it. Because he's training. Those training montages that are just a couple minutes long are inspiring, right? And you watch Rocky, and he's going to go, and the next time he steps in the ring, he's got all these muscles now and all this quickness. Why? Because he went through all that training. The Apostle Paul, one more time in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 25, says, everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last. We do it to get a crown that will last forever. Now, Paul, in this context, is talking about heaven. The eternal crown that we're going to receive if we get through this life, staying connected to our Father through his Son, Jesus Christ. But I think the principle can still apply to our relationships. How do you get better at whatever game you're playing? You practice, you train. How do I get better at my relationships? It doesn't just happen overnight. You're not going to go home today and go, man, that's an awesome sermon, and now our relationships are fixed. It takes effort. It takes time. It takes repetition. It takes some failure here and there. But if I work at it, if I redefine what winning is, and if I work on, man, today, I'm going to make this person feel good about themselves and feel good about us. I'm going to lift them up. I'm going to honor them. I'm going to meet their needs. I'm going to serve them. I'm going to forgive them. I'm going to love them. I'm going to listen to them. What's going on in their life right now? What do I need to hear from them? Oh, our relationships will get so much better. But it starts with our own heart first. And if I'm not healthy in my connection with God, I'm not going to be healthy in my connection with somebody else. That's where we need to start this morning. So as we wrap up and we get ready to stand up together and sing a song together, I want to invite you to take an honest look at your relationships and maybe even an honest look at yourself. And ask yourself this morning, what training do I need to go through? What needs to be cut out? What needs to be different? What do I need to allow God to change in me so that I can start winning at these relationships that are in my life? And if you need help with that, if there's something you need to confess, if there's something I don't know how to do this, I recognize what the problem is, but I don't know what to do about it, man, come share that with us. Come to the front while we're singing and tell us, this is what's going on in my life. This is what's going on in my heart. This is what's going on in my marriage. This is what's going on in my family. This is what's going on in this friendship. And I want it to be better. I just don't know how. Man, we will surround you with love and with support, and we'll discover the answers together. We may not even know exactly what to tell you, but we'll work on it together. Let's work on winning our relationships. Let's help each other do that. And if this church family can help you, we want to. So let us know how. Together we stand and sing.